Harem anime used to be everywhere. Whether it was High School DxD, The World God Only Knows, or The Legend That Is Nisekoi, there was a time when every season had at least one guy stuck in a love pentagon. But now, if I asked you to name a good harem anime that came out recently, you'd probably say Quintessential Quintuplets, 100 Girlfriends, then maybe just stop? So what happened? Why did the genre that once defined an era of anime fall off so hard? Well, there are 5 reasons why, and only a few shows that still get it right. So let's talk about it. Early harem anime worked because the setup felt fresh. One guy, 5 girls, complete chaos. It was new, it was fun, and for a lot of us, it was our first real taste of anime comedy and romance. Shows like Rosario and Vampire and Sekirei embraced that chaos. They were colorful, energetic, and full of absurd tension. To Loveru in particular became iconic because it leaned so much into the fan service that it basically rewrote the rules. There was no plot, it was just vibes and chaos, and it somehow worked. But when every harem anime copied that exact true structure, same character types, same misunderstandings, same swimsuit episodes, it kind of started to all blur together. What made To Loveru wild in 2008 felt tired by 2015. The formula stayed the same, but the spark was gone. Eventually, watching a new harem anime felt like watching reruns of a show you already finished. No surprises, no real payoff, just recycled chaos. And when a genre stops evolving, it dies. Let's be real. Most harem anime have amazing first episodes. Introduce a bunch of girls, drop some tension, tense the romance. But then nothing happens. The relationships don't move, characters don't change, the plot turns into a loop of fan service, misunderstandings, and festivals with no consequences. It kind of becomes boring. But not all shows are like this. Take Kanojo mo Kanojo, for example. It's dumb, yes, and the characters are a bit weird, but the characters do evolve. The relationships progress in actual hilarious ways. The MC is aware the girls compete, but also grow. And the show's chaotic tone never loses its sense of purpose. That's what makes the difference. Even if it's comedic, there has to be direction. Without progression, there's no investment, no real reason to watch. But then something a little bit different happened to the harem genre. The harem genre didn't really die, it kind of mutated. Nowadays, if you want to find a harem anime, just search for any isekai made after 2016. Afureta, Jobless Reincarnation, all technically harem setups, but now they're wrapped in a fantasy magic system and world building that usually overshadows the romance entirely. Don't get me wrong, they're good anime in their own respective right, but in terms of a harem anime, there's some stuff to say about that part. One show that started strong and kind of got overshadowed by its own world building is How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. It had the ingredients. It had likable characters, a decent chemistry, and a funny premise. But instead of building the relationships, I don't know, it kind of got buried under the lore, the boss fights, the etchiness, and the power creep. just like any other generic isekais. Isekai harems rush the romance. Girls fall in love in like 2 episodes. The MC doesn't really grow. The stakes aren't romantic, they're just about leveling up. And the awkward charm that made old school harem anime fun, gone. And another thing that always bothers me about romance harem anime. Here's the thing that might be hurting the genre more than anything else. Most harems don't end. They tease, they build, they throw 5 potential love interests at you, and then just stop. No winner, no resolution, no emotional payoff. This isn't just frustrating, it breaks trust. I mean, you spend 12 episodes getting invested in these characters, and then the show shrugs and says, read the manga, which oftentimes is also still continuing. Infinite Stratos, Trinity 7, Asterisk War, all of them had potential. None of them closed the loop. But there are exceptions. The quintessential quintuplets did the unthinkable. It chose. It gave each girl real development, kept the tension alive, and most importantly, ended with a decision. And because of that, it actually left an impact. A harem anime that ends is a rare thing, but when it does, it becomes memorable. Here's a subtle problem that hits harder than most. A lot of harem anime just don't feel real anymore. No, I know that 5 girls liking one guy is not realistic, but it's not about the fantasy versus realism. It's kind of about the emotional authenticity. Too many harem shows still use high school settings, but forget what high schoolers actually act like, or worse, they place the story in college or a fantasy world, but keep the maturity level frozen in early shonen logic. Characters don't make adult decisions, there's no awkwardness, there's no jealousy, no consequence. Everything is either too clean or too exaggerated. That's why a show like Psychono hits different. The characters feel like people, there's nuance, restraint, in an actual social dynamic that reflect real experience, even in a meta over-the-top setting. It's also why 100 girlfriends that really love you work in this chaotic way. Despite its absurd premise, the show surprisingly treats emotions with sincerity. The girls feel real in their affection, and the MC actually cares about each one of them. It's exaggerated, sure, but it's grounded in the intent, so you don't have to be realistic in the plot. But if there's no realism in the emotion, the harem kind of just becomes a noise. Now, harem, it's not dead. It's kind of just lost. The genre got burned out, watered down, and buried under isekai tropes. But when it works, when a show remembers that harem is supposed to be messy, funny, emotional, and meaningful, it still hits. We don't need 10 girls fighting for a guy who doesn't even remember their names. We need one good story with real tension, actual progression, and characters that make us feel something. 100 Girlfriends, Psychono. These are proof that harem anime can still thrive. And there's still other anime out there like Oregairu. But it just needs writers who aren't afraid to evolve the formula. So don't count the genre out yet. There's still time for more masterpieces. And let me know which one is your favorite. And that is all. Peace.